Welcome to the new vlog. It is the last day of May the 31st and great news, things are going amazing. Haven't had a good month like this in a while, honestly. I haven't been looking at the numbers just to not get to me. I don't want it to affect my game in any way, but I think this may be my best month, but I'm gonna find out after today because I'm trying my best just not to let the results affect me, because I think I mentioned before, there's been times that I just start really strong and I'm super excited, and then things go downhill. So I'm just trying to play every day at a time. So I'm gonna find out tomorrow after today what my hourly is gonna be. So let's just head in there. It's a Friday, so 2-5 is definitely gonna be going on. I'm just gonna be playing about 5.5 hours again because I don't want to edit 8 hours of a vlog. That'd be insane. It's already a shit ton of work. I don't want to make it even more. And yeah, so it'll be a little bit of 1-3, probably get started. I'm gonna play 2-5. Let's go right in there and play. We head into the poker room and see the good news that they're opening a new table that is a 1-3. And when we head in there, we win the first possible thing you can win since we get the highest card, and we are the button. Let's get started with some 1-3. That we got king 3 off, 4-5 off, 5-3 suited, 8-5 off, and we get the call for the promotion. Let's see if we can finally win one for the vlog. Our card is a queen of diamonds, and that is indeed good. So definitely pretty lucky to get going. And next hand is 8-5 off, and now they come for the promotion. And today it's mystery chips that basically I can win anything from $25 to $500. I pull out a chip, the minimum $25. So let's flip it. Basically what happens, she flips it 3 times since the first 2 didn't come out right. It has to go around in circles, but we would have lost the first 2. And she does it right for the 3rd time, but we lose that one as well. So we do end up with a $10 food voucher. That I guess is better than nothing. Let's move on to ace-7 off, 3 deuce off, 5-4 off, king 6 off, 8-3 off, 4 deuce off, king jack off. We would raise, but there's 2 limpers, so you got to tighten up your range when there's limpers, especially more than one ahead of you. So I do just let it go. 8-6 off, 10-3 off, and now we're in a big blind with one. We'll definitely defend. Ace-10 off. There's 4 limpers. Now the button makes it $15. And yeah, definitely pretty small with all the limpers, but I didn't know the guys. So when a small blind calls, let's just call, and so do 3 limpers. Flop 6-3-7. So when a hijack leads for $20, the cutoff button small blind calls. Yeah, I just let it go. 9-4 off, king 10 off. Again, 3 limpers. I'd definitely raise it in the cutoff, but with all those limpers ahead of us, got to be a little tighter, as I mentioned. So I do fold. Jack 4 off, 10-4 off, and now you're in the low jack with ace 2 suited. Straddle is going on, so I make it $20 to get the button small blind under the gun to call. Flop, once again, not the best. Jack 5-3, so at least we got a gut shot, but it's on a flush draw board, so pretty multi-way. I check, button bets $40 under the gun call, so I let it go. 10-6 suited, now in a big line with another pretty one. Jack 10 suited. Low jack makes it $15. Hijack cutoff, button small blind calls, and definitely I consider 3-betting here. The issue was, first, the low jack $15, definitely a little above average, and sometimes people have size tells. And if I 3-bet here with all of the callers, I'd basically have to make it over $100. And I have 250 behind. I'd have to commit half of my stack, and that just doesn't make sense. So I just have to rip it all in, basically. So I wasn't really in the mood to rip it all in with Jack 10 suited, and I think it plays fine, just calling as well. So that is what I do. Flop king 9-8. So open in a straight draw, not the worst. There is a flush draw on the board. I check. Checks to the button who bets $30. And yeah, getting a good price to hit our straight draw. I call, so does the hijack. Turn, though, is a king. That's definitely not what you want when you're on a draw that the board pairs. And now the button just rips it all in for $360. That is absolutely massive. That looks crazy strong. Yeah, so everybody does fold. And he flips over pocket kings. So, yeah, definitely interesting line to do with such a strong hand that doesn't really need protection. But anyways, during next time we have another one we're going to play. Pocket 6s in the small blind, under than 2, low jack, hijack, cutoff, button, limp. So, let's just set mine. I call, big blind checks, flop, deuce, deuce, 10. Big blind bets $5, low jack calls. And yeah, probably should just be letting it go here, but I do flick in the call this time. Turn is a 10. Now the big blind bets $10, low jack raises 20, and I let it go. Jack 7 off, ace 4 off, queen 7 suited, queen 6 suited, king deuce suited, ace 7 off. Now, once again, we got called for the promotion. Can we win twice in a row? Nope, our hand is an 8 of clubs, and that one is not good. But the next hand definitely is. Pocket jacks in a small blind, under the 2 makes it $15, folds to me. I sweep it to 55 and just lets it go. 9-3 off. Now I'm going to cut off with ace-8 suited. 4 limpers, and this time we're definitely going to raise. I'm going to get $30. Let's punish them, and everybody folds. So, hey, decent money, just taking down pre-flop without having to see a flop. I'll take it. Ace-4 off. Now I'm going to low jack with pocket 5s. There's 3 limpers, and usually I'd fold here in early-ish position on 3 limpers ahead of me. Just small pocket pairs aren't doing great, but this game was so passive. I just thought if I limp behind, I'd get to see a flop and be able to set mine for a cheap price. So I do limp, but the hijack now punishes us all since he makes it $35, and yeah, folds to me, and we're not that deep. I just don't think we're getting a price to set mine, so I do let it go. 7-3 suited, 10-9 off, and now see the amazing news that a 2-5 is starting, so let's rack up, head over there. Hopefully we run better in the higher stakes. We bind to be at $1,000 and up into the first hands that are 10-5 off, 9 deuce off, and now we see a pretty one. Ace-jack suited under the gun 2. I make it $15, hit the button and big blind to call. Flop. 8, deuce, 9. So, not the worst. We got backdoors going on for us. Multi-way with a player in position after me. I do check. And I was planning on calling a good amount of bets, but he makes it $50. So when it folds to me, an overbet. Yeah, I don't think I'd be calling floating in this spot when he overbets it. So I do just let it go. Very next hand, pocket 6s in the big blind. Hijack makes it $20. And let's call. Flop though, not very great for pocket 6s. Queen 3 ace, so when he bets $15, I let it go. King 8 suited, 6-7 off, Queen 4 off, Jack 8 suited, Jack 8 off, and now we got a pretty one. King Queen suited and under the gun, and make it $15. You get a low jack, hijack, cut off, small line to call. And finally, we hit a flop 5 King 3. So top pair Queen kicker, so multi-weight with 3 players left to talk after me. I do check and low jack bets. He makes it $35. Folds to me. And looks pretty strong. He's next to act, very dry board, so I do think he has a king. And I think for the most part we're good, apart from pocket 5s and pocket 3s, since I think he's 3-betting me with ace-king, so definitely liking this spot. I call, I'm liking it even more when the turn is a queen. We've got top 2, let's go. But when I check, he checks back, river is a deuce. And yeah, now this is a spot that I think he has a king that was paw controlling, and most likely king jack, king 10, king 9 suited. Sometimes this player could be a little wide pre-flop. And what do we think he could call with? I think he'll call a decent size, so I'll make it $120. He thinks for a little bit, finally does put in the call. I show, and he mucks saying he had king jack. That's very nice. We are finally in the green, up $108. Definitely a nice start in the 2-5 streets. Let's go on a king 9 off, 9-4 off. Now we see a beautiful one. Pocket queens in the big blind, but the low jack, a super tight player pre-flop, makes it $50. That is absolutely massive, and he has one of those tells in his sizes. He makes it huge with really strong hands, so usually I'd be always 3-betting with queens in the big blind, but against this massive size, 10x, I'm really not loving my hands, so let's just be safe here and flick in the call. Flop, 9-7 deuce. So yeah, good flop for queens, but still not loving it since the hands I think he has we're still losing against. Maybe he could have jacks. I don't know. For the most part, I'm not very happy, but I'm not going anywhere when he bets $50. So I do call. Turn is a 3. I check, and he bets again, but at least at $100. So he's giving us a good price. I do call. River is a deuce. I check, and he checks back. I show, and as I was worried about, we are no good against pocket kings. So, yeah, at least I think we lost the minimum. We're just down $92. We could be down a lot more, and we would have if it was against any other player, or even him, if he didn't have these massive sizes with his premium hands. And that's why you just usually have one size, because if not, it's pretty obvious what you have and people could exploit you. Now, believe it or not, we get to upgrade pocket aces in the hijack, and things get better. Just wait for it. Under the gun makes it $15. I 3-bet to 60. Now, the cutoff, Cole 4-bets to 150, folds to me. And I have a strategy that I just don't 5-bet. I'll call or fold against a 4-bet. There's just benefits of just flat calling with aces against a 4-bet. And especially here, because he Cole 4-bet me, he looks so strong. If I 5-bet him, it literally just looks like pocket aces. So we're going to just call. Let's go to a flop that is, okay, 4-4 queen. So, still beating pocket kings and, of course, ace-king. I was just hoping everything below a queen, but hey, at least it's not a king. So when I check and he bets $80, of course, I'm not going in with my aces. I call turn. It's a king. So now we're still beating ace king. We're blocking that, but we're losing against kings and queens. So definitely not loving it. But when I check, we see the great news. When he checks back, river is another queen. And this was a really interesting spot, honestly. Thinking back, I guess I should be betting here because if he had kings, he'd be betting the turn. And there's only one combo, pocket queens. And I don't know if he's cold for betting me with ace queen. Maybe. But altogether, I did go for a check. Just thinking, and one thing I'm getting value from in this spot is ace king. If I check, he may bet that himself. But when I check, he actually does check back with ace king. So yeah, definitely a pretty scary run out for pocket aces. And I do think if I would have 5-bet pre-flop, he's folding that because, again, it's so damn strong. And we will take this one down. That gets us back up $153. I'll take it. Let's move on to 10-5 off, queen 4 suited, ace 5 off, jack 10 off, 10-6 off, 9-3 off. Now on the button with a pretty one, ace queen off, under the gun, one limp. So I make it $25 and only under the gun calls. Flop. 9, jack, 10. So open in a straight draw, 2 of the cards, and it is a pretty nice spot. If he has a queen and a king comes on the turn, we will probably be able to get a lot of money from them. So a lot of promising things could happen. But when I bet $35, he just folds. And yeah, that is still pretty good since we, at the end of the day, just had ace high, jack deuce off. Now we got a decent one, ace 4 suited and a hijack under the gun, one limb. So I'm going to get $25. So get the cut off the call. And so do the limpers. A pretty multi-way to an ace 3 king flop. So yeah, we have top pair, but 4 kicker and pretty multi-way. And you know, in live cash games, people love to play with ace X. So very likely I'm behind, so I do check. And I had a cutoff bet, $75. Under the gun one calls onto me, and the cutoff bet next to act on an ace high board, ace king board, super dry, super multi-way. I mean, I play pretty often against this player, and I just think this is always an ace. And if he has an ace, the only ace we're beating is ace deuce, since ace 3 is 2 pair. So yeah, I don't think I'm good here. Maybe, I mean, if I don't think I'm good, I just don't think I'm getting a price, even though I have backdoor straight and backdoor flush, or even hitting 2 pair. So yeah, I just let it go. And this may be one of the spots that people say I am tight, but it just looks like sets a strong action when the cutoff bet, so multi-way so big. So if I don't think my top pair is good, I'm not going to call. And I'm going to save myself $75 that I never found out what he had, but I think I am $75 richer than I would have been if I called in that spot. And anyways, now we got another pretty one. Pocket 9s under the gun 2. Again, under the gun limp. So I make it $20 and get the big blind under the gun call. Flop, okay-ish, I guess. 6-8 jack. So just one overcard and a gut shot. But it is a monotone board. And I do not have a diamond. So when it checks to me, I am checking, just trying to get to showdown. Turn is a 10. So now we have an open-ended straight draw. And again, it checks to me. And again, I don't see the value in betting here. Maybe my pocket 9s is good. And yeah, I check. River, super interesting. It's a 9. So now we river a set. But again, monotone board. Any queen is a straight. Any 7 is a straight. So when it checks to me, I think betting here is a little too thin. So I do check back. And river set is good. So we'll take this one down. 10-4 off. King 6 suited. Ace 9 off. Now in a small one with pocket 5s. Low jack limps. So let's set mine. I call. Big blind checks. It ends up going to showdown, checking down. Flop comes 6, 3 deuce, turns a 3, river's a queen. I show, and we are good. Next hand, queen 4 off, 6, 7 off, ace 4 off, king 9 off, and now it's time for a bomb pot. That we get not that pretty of a hand, 5, 6, 7, 5, and we miss. So when someone bets, we just let it go. Queen 6 off, queen 6 off again, 4, 7 off, 5 deuce off, king 9 suited. Definitely raise it up in this position, but someone else does, so we let it go. 10 deuce suited, queen 3 off, and now we got a okay-ish one. Ace 5 suited, under the gun 2. I make it $15 to get the button, small blind, big blind to call. Flop. 4, 5, 8. So middle pair is kicker, not the worst. And so multi with another player left talk to after me. I check and it checks around. Turn is a 10. Checks to me again. I'm just happy to get the showdown. So multi-way and overcard did come to the board. So I do check it out. The button does bet $35. Folds to me. And yeah, I mean, maybe he's bluffing me here. But I thought more likely he'd be trying to bet the flop as a bluff. I mean, maybe not because the blinds could still have strong hands, but after they check the turn, that doesn't seem like anybody has anything. So maybe I should be holding on once, but the moment I do, just let it go. And we get an upgrade now. Pocket kings and under than one. News is better since the straddle is going on. So I make it $30. Get the hijack to call. Now cutoff makes it 130. And again, this is the same player as earlier that made it $50 pre-flop. This guy is super tight. So again, I'm in a spot with him that I have a really, really strong hand, but I'm not loving it because straddle is going on and he 3-bet me. I really think this is aces or queens. I really don't know if he'll 3-bet me with ace, queen, king. I see him flatting all the time with that hand. So it's really aces or kings, maybe jacks. So yeah, again, this is a spot that if I 4-bet, I think he will find a fold with jacks and queens because, you know, I think he understands to a degree the dynamics, that he knows how tight he is. So he knows how strong it looks if I 4-bet his super strong 3-bet. So not wanting to just keep aces in his range, I do just call. So we go heads up to a flop that is very nice. Deuce, 3-3. So when I check and he bets $100, I'm just hoping this time he has the worst pocket pair and he doesn't have us beat again when we have a really strong hand. I call, turns a 6. I check and I bets $200. Pretty similar play like he did last time. And once again, just hoping he has queens or jacks. I call river. A jack. So now I'm hoping he has queens. Is basically the only hand I think I'm beating here. I check and we see the okayish news. When he checks back, I show and we see the amazing news that he does have pocket queens. So thankfully this time we had the better pocket pair, and that brings us up $629, looking amazing. Let's move on to 5-9 off, ace-10 off, and a big blind early position raises. And yeah, I let it go. Now in a smaller with pocket nines, cutoff makes it $45. So again, these people are just making really massive sizes, making things a little weird because pocket nines is definitely a good candidate to 3-bet in a small blind against a cutoff. But against that size, honestly, I kind of want to fold, but that seems a little too tight. So I do just flick in a call, flop, king 10-3. So yeah. When she's getting ready to bet, I just let it go on that run out. Don't think I'm beating much. Very nice hand. Now we got ace-5 suited in the button. But under the gun makes it $50. So I don't know what's going on with these massive sizes. But these players, when they make it this big, they just have nutted hands. So this is definitely a good candidate to 3-bet bluff. But when someone's telling me with their size that they have a massive hand, I'm not going to try to bluff them. And calling, I don't think makes that much sense either with this massive size. So I just let it go. 7-6 suited. I definitely raised, but someone else does, so I let it go. 10-8 suited. And once again, it's the day of the strong pocket pairs. Pocket queens in the low jack. I make it $15 and get the button to call. Flop. 9 jack king. So not the worst. There is one overcard, but we have a gut shot and out of position. I check. He bets $15 and not going anywhere yet with a gut shot. And I definitely think he'd be betting worse and maybe has a draw. So I do call. Turn is pretty good. Another king. So less likely he has one of those. And yeah, once again, I check and we see good news when he checks back. But river is pretty poop. It's a ace. So now I just think checking here and trying to get the showdown is the move because he definitely could have some aces that sets the flop. And I don't think we'll get value for more. So I check and he checks back. I show, but we are no good against ace-5 suited. So he had the nut flush draw and over the ace. That is indeed good. And our pocket queens is no good in this one. Let's move on to ace-6 off, 7-4 off. Now it's time for a bomb pot that we will play. So get ready for a lot of cards. We've got king 5-5 deuce in the big blind. First board is 7-7 queen, so nothing but. Second board is 5-4-10 middle set. And in the big blind early position, I'm just checking range and it checks around. Turn is a 6 and a 9. And middle's not middle now. There's 2 overcards to my set. With nothing on the other board, I just Feels a little too weak to be betting here, so I do check. Under the gun bets $85, and under the 1, under the 2 cutoff button call. And once again, with nothing on the other board, and they definitely could have a speed on the one I'm on. I think raising is overplaying my hand, so I do call. River comes a 6 and a king. That was definitely not the best card, since that does bring in Queen Jack for a straight. So I check. Under the gun bets $175, under the 1 calls, cutoff calls. And yeah, I was not sure about this spot because I'm getting an amazing price to try to get half the pot. But my decision becomes pretty easy since the button rips it all in for $460. And this definitely just looks like a straight, because on the other board, not too much has changed. And just, yeah, the big difference looks like the straight on my board. So maybe my set could be good here once in a while, but this is just a spot that I'm just calling, trying to win half of the pot. That very likely I'm not good on that side. So yeah, I do just let it go. And under the gun did call, and at the end of the day, the button did have the straight with a Queen Jack, and under the gun had a full house on the other board. So our set was good on the turn, but they hit the straight on the river, and they will chop that one up. Let's move on to 8-7 off, 9-3 suited, 6-4 suited, Jack-5 off, and now we're in the low jack with Ace-8 suited. I make it $15, just the big blind calls. Flop, deuce, deuce, 5, and, you know, not the worst. Pretty dry, and 2 over cards back to flush draw. When he checks, I bet $15 and he calls. Turn is a 4. Definitely not the card I was hoping for. Just I was thinking more something a little higher that could scare a 5 or give us, you know, a backdoor flush draw, but not too much to think about since he leads for $40. So yeah, I just let it go. 6-3 off, King 4 off, Jack 7 off, 7-6 off. In the big blind, we see a free flop, miss and fold, and 10 deuce off.
All right, quick break. We just came back from the buffet and ate shit tons, so feeling pretty good and running pretty well. Just those decent sized pots with kings and queens, and yeah, I think I got away losing the minimum when I had queens against kings, and maybe I won the minimum with the kings against queens when he had it. But honestly, that player, I think I 4-bet, especially in that spot. He'll very likely fold his queens. So I think for the most part, I lost the minimum and won the max. And yeah, we got 3 more hours to go. Let's head in there and try to end the month strong.
When we come back, we come right in time for the big blind. We see 5 deuce suited. Under the gun makes it $15. Cutoff button, small blind calls. And it's suited. You could have a straight flush. So multi-way, $10. Let's do it. I call. Flop, definitely above average. King 6-9. We flop a flush, one of the worst possible ones you can have, but the flush is still very good. I check. Under the gun bets $45. That looks really strong, so multi-way. And if that looks strong, the button raises to 100, and this player is very tight. So when it's on to me, I was loving it, and now I feel like I'm hero calling with my flop flush, but I know this player, the button. I know he's not bluffing, so I'm just hoping he is value betting a worse hand. He did make it pretty small, so I was thinking maybe he could have King 9, King 6, pocket 9s, pocket 6s, and he's kind of raising a position to check back turns. So not loving it, but I don't think I could fold yet. I think I still may be good, so I do call. Under the gun ends up folding. Turn, one of the worst cards of the deck. It's a 6. So now the few hands I was hoping he had, we are losing against, apart from King 9. So when I check, we see the amazing news though. When he checks back, river is an ace. And this was a really weird spot. I don't know. My thought was, if I check and he bets, I'm probably going to have to call. I don't know if I could find a full ace depending on the size. So I thought maybe if I bet really small here, I could still get King 9 to call that I thought he could have that's playing this way. And yeah, so that was the plan. I make it $100. He calls, I show, and as I was worried about against that raise on a flop, we are no good against Queen 10 suited. So not best timing to come back from the break. That definitely takes a chunk of our profit, but let's just focus and move on. The 8 deuce suited, now on the button with pocket 4s. Straddle is going on. I make it $30 and everybody folds. Now I'm going to cut off with King Jack off. I make it $15. Big blind calls. Flop. 5, 5, 10. Checks to me. I'm going to see a bet range. I make it $15. He check raises to 40. So king high, I just let it go. King 6 off, 7, 8 off, jack deuce off, ace jack off in early position. Button straddle is going on. And yes, we are going to fold this. And I get a good amount of shit in the comments by folding these hands, but this is pretty standard. If you think this is really tight, just look up some pre-flop ranges from good sources. One that I recommend myself is from Run It Once. They just put out a new course, Cal Foundations, from Phil Galfin himself, just $50. And you get a free month of Essential that is worth $25. So anyways, I'll just leave that in the link. Now in a big blind with ace 3 suited. Under the gun, 2 limps, solved by calls. And yeah, with early position limper, I just check. Flop 5, 8, ace. So top pair, 3 kicker, not the worst. Checks around, turn is at 8. And yeah, maybe if the 8 wouldn't come out, I would have bet. But I do decide to check on that turn. Under the gun, 2 bets $15. And I call. River is a 10. I check. He checks back. I show. And we are good since he mucks. Let's move on to 9, 5 off. 10, 7 off. 4 deuce off, queen deuce off, 9, 8 off. Now we see a pretty one, ace queen off, and under the gun 2. I make it $15 in small blind and big blind calls. Flop 9, 3, 6. And then a small blind leads for $40. So yeah, sometimes donk bets could look weak, but when they pot it 3 ways, I'm just going to let my ace high go. So I do fold, but now we get an upgrade. Ace queen, but suited this time, under the gun 1. Button straddle is going on, so I make it $35 and just the button calls. Flop. Pretty decent. Jack, ace 8, top pair, queen kicker, out of position. I check range. That is what I do when he checks back. Turn is a jack. And I like checking here since I definitely think he could have jacks himself. I don't know if we get value from too much worse. And this player is very aggressive. So if I check twice, I definitely think he may start bluffing. So that's what I do. I check. He does bet $25 and I call. River is a 4. I check and he does bet $65. Happy calling here. That is what I do. He says you're good. I show and he mucks. We get another bomb pot now, but we just miss. So when someone bets, we let it go. Queen 4 off. Now in a small bet with a pretty one. Ace queen off. Under the gun 1 makes it $15. Cut off calls. So let's 3 bet. I make it 80. And they both call. Flop 10, 3, jack. So not the worst, I guess. We've got shut of the knots and 2 other cards. Think it interesting though now since under the gun 1 says all in out of turn for $190. So yeah, now I guess I just check. That is what I do. And she does go all in. Other player folds and on to me. And under gun 1, she is a very aggressive player. So yeah, I'm not sure about this spot, but it's less than pot. I got 4 outs to the nuts. That for sure is good. And I think if I hit an ace or a king, I'm very likely good as well. So I do flick in the call. And I thought I had maybe she has a straight draw herself with king, queen, 8, 9, and decided to rip it as well. So I did think there's a chance my ace high is good too. So yeah, once again, I call. Turn is at 8. River is a queen. So we river our straight. And our straight will be good against Jack 9 of hearts. We'll take this one down. And that was a very nice little pot that brings us up $580. Let's move on. The queen 6 off, 6, 5 off, king 6 suited. Now the low jack with a pretty one, ace 10 suited. Make it $15. Get the button and small blind to call. Flop 5, ace, queen. So top pair. About 10 kicker monotone board. Now things get interesting since small blind checks his cards and now leads for $35. This player is the aggressive one and him checking his cards. I don't think he has a flush here that is often since it just looked like he was checking if he had a diamond. If they were both diamonds, he would probably know. And with the 10 kicker, I decide just to call here. Turn is a 4. Now he checks and probably should be betting here since I don't think he's going to be checking if he has a strong hand and maybe he just has a diamond. That will probably call a big bet. But the moment I do check back, there is a 6. I bet $25 and this was just a really weird line. And at the end of the day, it just seemed like a spot. If I raise, I didn't think I was going to get called by worse. So I decided not to risk it. I do just call and we are good against king, queen with the king of diamonds. So he did have the nut flush draw and middle pair. That is no good. We'll take it down with our ace 10. Let's move on to 5 deuce off, 7 for a student, a big blind. Down to small blind with pocket 7. Low jack makes it 15. Button calls. I call flop. Queen jack 5. So set money not working out for us. Low jack bets $35. Button calls and I just fold. Next hand, king jack off in the button. 3 limpers. I make it $25 and only under than 1 calls. Flop. 7, 9, ace. Checks to me, ace high board. I usually just bet big with strong hands or strong draws, and if not, I check. And with king high, I do check. Turn is a 7. He checks again now, and maybe this is just my passive side kicking in, but it was just a spot when that card comes out that if he has a 9, if he has an ace, he has a 7, I don't think any of those are folding, and we may be good with our king high, so I do check back. Where's a deuce? He checks, I check back, and we're no good against 8, 9 off. So yeah, once again, if we would have been aggressive, probably get that to fold, but we do not, and he will take it down. But let's play another one. Pocket sixes in the cutoff. 2 limpers. I make it $20. You get a button, small blind, and under than 2 to call. Flop, deuce, 7, 5. Under than 2 leads for $20. And yeah, definitely annoying lead on his side since now I'm next to act. I got 2 other players after me that definitely could have a 7. And yeah, I just don't think my pocket sixes are good here. I definitely prefer just to have 5, 6. I have more chances to hit 2 pairs or trips if he is betting with a 7, but with our 6s, I do just let it go. Let's try that again, since once again we got pocket 6s in the hijack, under than 1, low jack limp, so I make it $25. You just small blind and limpers a call. Ends up checking down, flop comes 8, ace, ace, turns a 10, rivers a 3, and our pocket 6s hold this time since I show, and we will take this one down. So hey, $100 pot that comes our way, I will not complain. Another bomb pot is happening. We got king 9, 8, 6, but we just miss. So when someone bets, we let it go.
And that is it. So definitely another decent win. Feeling pretty great. And little by little, we're building our bankroll back to a place that we're not constantly stressed out. That is nice. And it definitely helps to play my best game since, yeah, when I'm worried about money, that's not the best recipe. And anyways, let's just rack up, cash out, and talk about the session. All right, what an amazing month. Pretty just running good, apart from the flush over flush, and didn't lose too much. Same with the queens and kings, lost the minimum. And this is the best month I've ever had since I started playing poker. And definitely came right in time. And again, we're still not out of the danger zone. I'm still going to have to put in a bunch of hours every month to just build the bankroll up again, because I'm kind of where I used to be at, and for a while. But after what happened through the summer, that I just lost almost my whole bankroll, I realized, doing this for a living, I gotta be way deeper. I gotta have a lot more buy-ins to even think about being comfortable as I thought I was at the moment. So yeah, these next months, I'm just gonna keep on grinding, playing as many hours as I can, not get comfortable, even though I'm back to where I used to be at, I think. Not at the highest, but a little more comfortable. I'm still gonna be putting a shit ton of hours in, as much as I can, and just keep on building up the bankroll. And yeah, thank you all for watching. If you've seen the content, it probably seems like I've been running super well, but this month was great. And the previous video I filmed was 2 months ago. I didn't film anything last month, and last month was shit. I broke even. So didn't run as great as it seems on the videos, but yeah, this month definitely compensated for last month. That's always nice. And as usual, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, always happy to talk about hands. And as well, we got a Discord group going on where we just talk about poker, talk about content, or the game I have on Monday if you ever want to play. So I'll leave the link to the Discord as well in my description. And with that, I'll see you guys next week.